Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas, and I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danni D, and I'm here sharing my tips about how you can have a profitable business and have that work-life balance. And today we have a great guest. We have Stacey Barlow Hill, and I met her several years ago, and we've just kept in touch over time. We both are, balloon artists, but also just love business. And so, I know a lot of balloon artists, but I have a special passion for business. So I always connect with people that have that same passion for business and growth. And so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Stacey, but I really want you to just experience her. I want you to, see her, know her, love her. But so Stacey is a leadership and lifestyle coach, and she's helping overwhelmed business owners become the best versions of themselves and lead successfully. Stacey guides her clients through exploring self-discovery, overcoming limiting mindsets, and developing expert leadership skills so they can reach the ultimate levels of success in both life and business. So you can already see that we are kindred spirits just from the description. So welcome, Stacey, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I think we are a little kindred spirit, as you said. In this industry, we both have the background in events, which is where I got started at. But then we've kind of both morphed into coaches and have created this other path for ourselves that we both just enjoy and are passionate about. And so I'm excited to be here and talk to your viewers today. But yeah, my name is Stacey Barlow Hill. I got my start with my company Encore Event Design. So we are an event design company. We actually have a small venue. I'm located here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we've been servicing this area for the last 13 years. About 3 years ago, I started my journey into coaching, and it really just came naturally. It's just because the event company had such longevity and had some success here in the area that people just started asking me about coaching them or how can they do that or wanting to intern. And it just kind of naturally grew into a coaching business. And when I started to think about what my next chapters might be, I was like, this is the space that I feel comfortable in. And sometimes that physical lifestyle that we live in the event industry doesn't always serve us well as we age. So as I started to get older and I didn't want to be cleaning up events every weekend at midnight and 1 in the morning and 2 in the morning, and I started kind of thinking, okay, how can I kind of pass this business off to my team and allow them to lead and grow and then move myself into the coaching space. So that's where I'm at now. And I'm happy. I feel in alignment and everything feels like it's where it's supposed to be right now.
And alignment is one of my favorite words. So, I love that idea of just everything kind of falling into place and just that natural transition sometimes in life. You start in one area and we don't always think about where that's going to take us or always realize that it's going to take us somewhere totally different than where we started. But I feel safe saying, because I know this is how I feel, I absolutely love it, and I think, if you told my former self that I would be here and doing this, I'd probably be like, I don't know.
Right. Me too.
But
Me
that's the
too.
beauty of, having your path unfold. We don't always know the next step, but just, being consistent and seeing where those things take us and being open to it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I really wanted to talk to you. I know when we the last conversation that we had personally, we talked a lot about goals and how important goals are in setting your path for your success story. So share a little bit about, your thoughts on how important goals are.
Goals, so, and just as equally as important as goals, I feel is your why, right? Because you're not really going to follow through with something unless you have an end goal and if you have
Yes.
a reason why you're doing that goal.
Yes.
A lot of times we see other people that we think are successful or that we think are reaching this level of whatever it is that we think that they're doing because everything's perfect on social media and it looks and appears to be a certain way. So sometimes we set out to do those things because we want to be like that person or because we want to have what we think that they have or we want to live the life that we think that they do. And while it's okay to admire someone and to maybe achieve some of those same goals, why do you want that? Are you chasing something that you think that they have, or do you truly want to be able to live a lifestyle that you want to live? So being able to have goals that are identifiable, that are SMART goals, specific, measurable, all those things that attribute to the SMART goal um, uh, protocol, I guess. But really understanding why it is that you want to do what you do, it's going to make it that much easier to get to it. Because if you're just out there just swinging at everything that comes your way and you don't have any real reason why you want to get there or how you want to get there or what it looks like when you're going to get there, you just don't keep swinging. And you might get lucky and you might hit something, but it's not going to last. To be able to be sustainable, you have to have some structure around it and something that you're focusing to and looking forward to and understanding the reasons behind what you're doing, what you're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And when you were talking, I'm just thinking about a recent conversation with one of my clients. And, I always start with, what do you want?
Mhm.
And that, tends to be such a hard question. And, because a lot of times we really haven't thought about it. And we have just said, this is what the industry says I should do. And that person responded saying that, she wanted a storefront. And so we went down the whole trail of that conversation, only to realize the only reason that she wanted a storefront is because that's what other people had said was successful. That's what success
Right.
looks like. And
Mhm.
if that's not truly you and what you want,
Mhm.
like you said, it's not going to last. It's not going to have longevity. If you're a person that doesn't wake up in the morning and you have a storefront and you have to be there between the hours of, whatever those hours are,
Right.
that's not going to work. So, it's so important that we are realistic about what is it that you want your life to look like and what does that success story look like specifically for you, not just, you
Yes.
know, the superficial measures of success. I have this car, I have this amount of money, I have this, status symbol, but
Mhm.
there's no fulfillment.
Right. Well, I think what you said is so important. The success, your version of success, not someone else's version, because everybody's is different. That person that aimed to have the storefront, they may have had a whole different goal and end game in mind when they decided that that was what success looked like for them. For her, she maybe just wanted to make an extra $3,000 a month or something. So now she's got into all this overhead, and it may not be exactly what she wants. She just might want her why maybe just to spend more time with her child or her family, and just needs a few extra $1,000s to do some of the things that she wants to do. So it's okay. Either way is okay, but you just have to be comfortable and understand and know what your version is and what that looks like to you. And I think I even heard you say before, Danielle, that with your balloon business, that you don't do a lot of extra stuff. You do balloons, you do what you do well, and that's what you offer, and that's what you want to do. And you're good with that. And I have an event company and we do other things, but we also have a venue space, and there's some other reasons why we do some of those other
Right.
things. But neither one of those is right or wrong. Like, it's what serves you, it's what serves your vision, what serves your family, what your version of success looks like. So I think that's so important, that people really understand that and really become okay with that. Become okay with whatever that version is and not comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I think that comparison game, like that's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous
Sure.
game to play because you really don't, like, one, like you said, you may not have the same goals as the person that you're comparing yourself to. So it you're not even comparing apples to apples. So they're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. I see a lot of times people are emulating what the influencers are doing, but their goal is different.
Goal is different. Yeah.
They're not trying to sell, balloon decor. They're trying to sell themselves and their brand. So they're trying to get
Exactly.
endorsements. They're trying to do different things. So if you're following their path, if you're trying to emulate what they're doing, but that's not what your path is, it's not gonna work because y'all are not working on the same subject. They're doing Spanish, you're doing calculus. It's not gonna
Exactly.
it's not gonna translate. But even if you are, kind of doing similar things, your path still may be different. Your objective still may be totally different. And there, people that you can follow that are successful in every different um iteration, but but you have to be clear on who you're following, and also know that, like, even if they are doing the thing you want to do, you want a storefront and you're following somebody that's been successful with the storefront, your path still may be different.
Exactly. You know what? And sometimes too, if you're looking at it in terms of financial gains and monetary amounts, you may feel like you need all of this to reach that level. But Danielle sells balloons and she's sitting here in pajamas on her podcast, like talking to me. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And she knows what she wants to do. She's okay with that. She's working from her home. Like, that. And you probably make more money than a lot of these other people out here that have all of that stuff. And not to say that they can't make a lot of money, but you just have to understand, like, what you're doing, what you're getting yourself into. I have, with my event company, I have a storefront. I have a team of 15. I have a lot of overhead. I make more coaching than I make profit wise in my event company because there's so much overhead. Every single event has cleaning costs and vendor costs and payroll taxes and fees and workers' comp, and all of that stuff has to come out of there. When I coach, it's me. My overhead is very minimal. I
Yes.
have website insurance and things like that. So honestly, when it comes down to it, me talking to you in pajamas right now is making more money than my other company. But my other company also has allowed me to have this platform to be able to
Correct.
coach and to be credible as a coach. So I keep that company, because I have a team and because I'm developing other leaders through that team, which ultimately gives me more credibility as a coach. And it gives me
Right.
actually a platform to practice on. I do team leadership workshops and things with my Encore team. And then it allows me to have something to roll out to my clients with Live, Lead, Succeed. You know what I mean? So it gives me, I need both of them. So even though one may be more profitable than the other, but you would honestly probably look at it and think that the other one is more successful in terms of profits just because of what it looks like. It has a visual storefront, it has a team, it has all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, me sitting here in pajamas and you sitting here in pajamas is is what is really actually bringing in most of the profits. So
Yeah, and I think out of all of that, what I heard was clarity. Being clear on what your vision is, and like you said in the beginning, setting goals around that. So I'm doing this thing because it's going to get me here. I know this is where I'm going, and now I'm defining a path based on where I know I'm trying to go. And one, that clarity saves you time. So you're not working as hard, because you're not, like you say, you're not just swinging at everything, trying to see what's going to land. You are doing things that are meaningful towards that end goal. But two, it's like you have that laser focus, but you also are just more fulfilled overall because I'm trying to get here. I know I can see where I'm going a little bit better because I took the time to figure out what it is and why I want that thing. Because I think we have to stop internalizing other people's ideals and really figure out what is it that you want, what do you want it to look like, and know that it can exist. Because I think a lot of times we don't believe that it can exist, whatever that looks like. But we are, two professional women sitting here in our homes, in our pajamas, having a conversation right now.
In the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day. And, and that's so absolutely possible. And we're still, wives and mothers and all of those other things. But we still can have that full life and we can still be fulfilled. And we don't have to be bogged down by our businesses.
Exactly.
But yeah, I totally love that. And I love that we're coming from two different angles of the business, but still can, because I want people to know that it's not, oh, well, because I did it this way, well, that way, doesn't work. And even when I'm working with clients, I always listen for what their desires are, because I don't want you to just morph into, well, Danielle does it this way. That might not be the right way for you.
Exactly.
And if it's not going to work the same, if it's not authentic, it's not going to work the same. So I know, a lot of the listeners are probably thinking, like, the ones that have been in the industry and know that that's not where they want to end up. That's not their retirement space. What would be your tips, advice around transitioning from, working in the business to working on the business? And even if you want to go as far as, leadership outside of the business?
I think it comes down to probably first knowing what you're good at, and what you're not good at, what you enjoy doing, what you don't enjoy doing. Because those things, after you reach some level, if most of your listeners are entrepreneurs, you learn very quickly, like what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy about business. Usually you start something because you have a natural talent, you have a gift, somebody told you were good at something, or maybe you just started it because you thought it was going to make you a lot of money, or because you wanted more time. There was some reason why you started that business. So very quickly, entrepreneurs, we get into business and then we realize very quickly that we might not know how to run a business, but now we've got to answer the phones, we've got to sweep the floors, we got to do marketing, we got to do social media, we got to go network with people. Like, it's a whole process to keep this business going. So at some point, after you reach some level of success, your version of success, you begin to realize, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. So for instance, in my event company, I worked from my home for 5 years with that company. And very quickly, I did not want to do admin work. I am amazing at admin work. On the disc, I am a C, I am a S. I am very detail oriented. It makes me a great event planner, but I did not enjoy answering phones, doing contracts, answering questions. And it wasn't that I wasn't good at it. It just wasn't the best use of my time. At that point in time, I was the only designer. So taking up time to now answer a phone call, which then led to having to give an estimate, which then led to having to research photos and designs and all this stuff. It ended up taking a whole different turn of my day every day doing that, when I really just wanted to design and create something for, my clients. So the first person I hired was a admin, administrative assistant. She worked 5 hours a week. And sometimes you think when you need to hire someone that you have to pay them a full salary, or you got to have all this money, and you may not even be paying yourself at that time, but you feel like no one's going to want to work for 5 hours. There is someone for every position. When I put the ad out for that job, there were college students, there were people that had retired, there were stay-at-home moms that just wanted to do something for a couple hours a week. Like, I had choices for that. And I started them with 5 hours a week. And I'm not sure what the rate was, but that was about 10 years ago. But whatever the going rate was, it worked, and it worked perfect. And that 5 hours, someone enjoyed doing that, and they did it wonderfully. And I was able to go back to focusing on what I needed to focus on. So just things like that. And then from there, it began just building a team, and then turning that team into leadership and allowing them to take over. And that's another obstacle that sometimes we face as entrepreneurs and owners of our businesses, is that we don't want to let go. It's our company. We've worked, we put our name on it. We don't trust, and we're not willing to let it go. But someone told me years ago that if someone can do something 80% as well as you, let them do it. Give them the grace to fall, help them back up when they fall. But the client doesn't notice that 20%. You're the only one that notices that 20%. And if you don't give that up, you're going to drive yourself crazy and stress yourself out trying to do everything on your own all the while. Now, if you want to remain a solopreneur and do it on your own, that's absolutely fine. But if you have dreams to grow your business and to grow and to have a team of people, then you have to give up some control at some point. And that doesn't mean control of the overall vision and direction of the company, but it means some of those day-to-day tasks, and being able to allow yourself to the room to continue to add on to the vision and to grow the business in that way. But being able to first identify what you like and don't like, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and then being able to delegate and lead and allow other people to take over, is definitely the three things
Yeah.
I feel like you need to look at.
Yeah, I think that we need to be okay with not liking something.
Mhm.
Like, I think that, people get bothered by that, like they feel like, oh, well, I should like this thing. You don't have to. Like, when you said about, the disc analysis, like I'm super organized as a person, and I think in processes. So do you know how many people have been like, oh, you should be an event planner? I don't want to.
Don't want to.
I have that skill set. And I've
Right.
even been in situations where I'm like, so I was just a vendor, but I had to orchestrate, just for the sake of getting done what I needed to get done. But guess what?
Exactly.
I don't like doing that. And it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
And you
and
don't have
being
to
good at
do it
something and wanting to do it is two completely different things. Like,
right.
you could be amazing at it, but it doesn't mean that's the best use of your time or what's going to help you.
No. And then
Yeah.
that control. I want to sit on this one for a minute, because we
Yeah.
get so we get so controlling, that we can't just let go. And I love what you said about that 80%. Done is done. Done is done, and especially when you didn't have to do it. So if it's, even remotely close to what you would have produced, and you didn't have to do it, like,
Yes.
that's a no-brainer. Like, just
Exactly.
let go. Like, we have to, of course, we do have these, like, strong connections to the things that we've built, because you built this business. But if you want it to grow, you have to be able to let go of things, like I always think about like little kids when they're learning how to tie their shoes. You're trying to leave the house and it's going to take them 15 minutes to try to tie this
Right.
shoe. And you want to just tie it for them or put the
Yes.
Velcro shoes on them, but they can't go to college with Velcro shoes on. So at some point, you have to let them figure it out. And
Exactly.
I think a lot of times we have the expectation of, when I talk to people about, they try to hire somebody or a team or, what have you, there's this expectation that this person is going to come in and just be you instantly. There's no grace, there's no training, there's no preparation to, make this work for that person. It's just like they're just supposed to come in knowing and being you, and then if they're not, then you just like no, they have to go. Or if they're not as fast as you, or they do it slightly differently than you, like, I know when, my team is typically usually family. Me and my husband do things so remotely different. Like,
Yes.
and what I've learned is I just can't watch him. We just have to be in two separate rooms. You go do what you doing, and I'm gonna go do what I'm doing. And just don't watch it. When he comes back, it's finished, But if I sit there and watch it, then I'm like, why are you doing it? Like and you have to again release that control. If you want to grow, I mean, if you want to stay where you are, then and carry it all on your back, then that's cool too. But I mean, let some stuff go.
Yeah, you will feel much better, I promise.
Right. Like when it's done and you didn't do anything, like it's an amazing, amazing feeling. And I'm trying to think the third thing you were saying about let's see, we talked about delegation, we talked about control. Oh, about what you're knowing what you're good at.
What you're good at, yeah.
Because you got to be honest about that too, because some stuff you're not good at that you think you are. And you just got to be.
Yep.
You got to be honest that like somebody else could do that thing better, and it's okay. And it doesn't make you a bad business owner because you're not good at everything under the sun. It actually makes you a better business owner to know your shortcomings and hire for your shortcomings.
Absolutely. My designers are all better than me now. I've passed that torch to them and now they've ran with it and they done passed me. So when old clients come back and they want me to do it, I'm like, I promise you, you don't want me to do it anymore. You want my team to do it because they are amazing. And they're like, why would you give that up? I'm like, because it's the truth. Like I'm a great leader. I lead and I've got them to the point where now they're able to do that. And that's what I'm good at. And I recognize that now. Like I'm not up the trends. When I first started designing, I had young children, I had only been married a couple of years. I was still going to weddings. I was in weddings. I was at all the kids' birthday parties. I knew all the trends. And now when people come to me talking about, I don't even know what cartoons are out, but I'm like, what is that? And then I got to go sit and like figure it out where my team is in that stage that I was in. And they know all the trends. They know everything that's going on. They know what Cardi B's birthday party looked like. Like they they know all that stuff. And I'm like, trust me, you want them because I'm not in the known anymore. I'm at a different season in life. But you got to be able to be okay with that and recognize that. And, it's okay to let somebody else shine if it's, you're all doing it for the same reason. So.
And the thing is that when your team shines, you shine. Y'all shine together.
Absolutely.
And, and there's an underlying element of trust there. And I think that is something that we struggle with because we are always thinking about, the times that we got burned or the stories that we've heard about, this one, had these ulterior motives. But, I'm a big believer of you call things into existence. If that's how you are entering the situation, then that's most likely the type of results you're going to get. If you don't enter with trust, then people feel that. People don't want to be in a situation where they feel like they're not being trusted.
Right.
And they're not going to want to stay.
Micromanaged. Yeah.
Yeah. Who likes that? I mean, you don't like it and the person doesn't like it. So, figure out a different way. And, just I said I'm process driven. That process part of me is like, you know, are you truly developing these positions, these roles in a way that this person comes in knowing what they're supposed to do?
And I think you said it before about not having the expectation that they will come in being a clone of you, knowing that they're going to come in being exactly who they are. Now, the end goal should be the same. You should definitely have clear objectives of what you want for them to do, but how they get there is going to be indicative of their personality and how they want to get there. But there's not really a right or wrong way, unless you're maybe a caterer or something, and you got specific steps of like what type of seasonings go in and something like that. That
Yeah.
might be a different story. But in most instances, as long as you get to the end goal, their process is going to look different. You have to know who you're dealing with. I have twin girls. They are identical. They look exactly alike, but they are nothing alike personality wise. And when people ask me how their personalities are, I usually say in short, one is the one that you want to plan the party, and the other one is the one you want to go to the party with. Like both are equally important because you don't want to go to a party that's not perfectly planned and thought out and well thought out. That child will make sure that party is perfectly planned to the last detail. She's going to make sure you have a good time behind the scenes. But the other child is the free spirit. She's going to make sure you have a good time. She's going to make sure you do everything at that party and have the time of your life. And both of those personalities are necessary. And it's not a right or wrong way, but when you're trying to lead each of those personalities, you got to know how to talk to one. So the one that plans the party is very detailed focused. So they both work for me on my Encore team. So when I talk to her, I need a detailed list, and I say, this is what needs to be done in this order, or however you need to get to it, but this is what needs to be done. The other one, I can't give her all those details because it's just gonna make her shut down. So I need to explain to her the vision of what it looks like at the end. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, perfect. And when they work together, like they they get it done. And even in school, they're equally as smart. They get the same grades, but the one that's detailed is the one that reminds the other one, hey, we got to test tomorrow. Hey, we got to study for this. Hey, we got to do that. So without her, like, but then the one that is the outgoing one, she's like, hey, the dance is this weekend, or, why don't you come out and try this with me? Let's go hang out. And then it makes her have a little bit more fun. So they balance each other out. So all personalities and different types they're essential. Like you need every type of person in order to make things work, but it's just knowing how to lead those individuals and what motivates those individuals so that you get the result that you're looking for. Because that's what gets tricky in leadership, is because you can't necessarily treat people the way you want to be treated. You got to treat them the way they want to be treated. You got to communicate with them the way they want to be treated because that's what's going to produce results.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, we forget when we become employers what it's like to be employed. And so we're thinking about what we need to be done, not the human being that's in that space as a full human person. And so, a lot of times it's, this frustration, but you're creating that frustration. Like that frustration could be alleviated by, like you said, just figuring out, okay, this person likes this. This is what makes this person most productive. This is what makes this person most productive. It's not necessarily going to be the same. It's just not. But I also think there is, not just clarity on the person, but clarity in general, because what I find is people will say, well, they know they're overwhelmed. They know they need to hire someone. And then that's where it stops. So then you hire someone and you're frustrated because they're not lightening your load, but you've never clearly defined what that looks like.
Exactly.
like, what is their job description? What do you need them to do? Like, they can't just walk in and just be like, I have magically made your life easier and just like,
Yeah. And you have to think about that before it's too late. A lot of times we start getting growth in our businesses and then we get stressed out and we're like, we need somebody. And we just kind of take the first person that comes along that seems like they check all the boxes. But you really have to start thinking about that before it's time to hire or before you feel like you can hire so that you can take your time and find the right person because it costs way more to hire the wrong person after you've invested time in them and then you got to let them go or they leave or it's not a good fit and then you got to do that whole cycle all over again. You're wasting time, resources, and money. So coming up with that list, and it's really just a matter of the things we just talked about. What do you like to do? What don't you like to do? What can only you do? What produces the most money, time for your money for your time in your business. We'll make a list of those things, and then that list becomes your job description, and then you make that what you put out into the atmosphere to try to bring somebody into your company. But work on that before it gets to the point where you like just got to bring somebody in too quickly because that usually never results in anything good.
and I think just in all areas of your business, we always, kind of look at it like I'm going to invest when I have to, but you really need to be investing ahead of, you need to be planning ahead for that next level. So, don't invest for where you are, invest for where you want to go. And that includes, your team and everything else, because those investments allow you to make more money. They cost money, because I think that the thing that holds us back is, well, I can't afford, but you're not going to be able to make more revenue, generate more revenue without changing something. There's only so much you can do at your current capacity.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that, there's so much that, like in that leadership space, I think that like was really great how you broke down how, to start making that like that transition of, okay, let me step outside of myself. Let me look at what's the bigger picture of what I want and what I want for the business. And, thinking about that as you, transition yourself out of the center of it all. I mean, you still are there. And I definitely want you to kind of touch on, I think we talked about this in a previous conversation, but the idea of, not taking your eye completely off that ball, but repositioning yourself in the mix.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's a business cycle. It's actually called the Adizi's business life cycle, but it kind of starts from inception and it goes up this curve of like growth and prime. And then usually when companies get to their prime is when the fall starts to happen because they get in their prime and they think everything is good. And then they start taking their eyes off the business and they let everybody just kind of handle it. And they walk away and maybe go start another business or semi-retire or whatever. But that's usually where that that critical breaking point where your company starts to go down the other end of the slope, where you go into to death is what is actually at the end of the slope, is where you're just trying to salvage whatever you can from the company because you let it go so far. So for me, to try to stay in that prime is just leadership. I can't take my eyes completely off, but it is at the place where I don't have to manage day to day. I can take a vacation if I want to. I can go away for a weekend and everything is fine. I could probably take 2 weeks off and everything will be fine. Like it's gotten to that point, but it didn't happen overnight. I mean, this was years of working with and developing people. And I think that's something just overall that probably needs to be said with this whole conversation is that, you don't get to pajamas and working in pajamas overnight. Like there's still a process of grind and hustle and work that has to be implemented. So when you're looking through the lens of someone else's business, you have to understand the whole journey that it took to get there. I mean, this is a 13-year journey for me to be sitting here talking to you in the middle of the day. This didn't 10 years ago, you wouldn't have caught me. I would have had no extra time. I'd have been grinding. I was working. I was hustling, but it was necessary. Like I had to do that. So you have to understand your seasons and what it's going to take to be able to get to the other side of that. But that goes back to knowing your goals. What's the end game? When I started my event company, I didn't necessarily want to do events. I had twin girls, and the cost of putting them both in daycare was just ridiculous. And at the time, I was working in retail, and it just didn't make sense. I was just going to be working just to put them in daycare. And my husband and I made the decision, that I would stay home. And after about a year, I was just like, I want to be home, but I wasn't made to be, like full-time stay-at-home mom. Like I gotta,
I get
need
it.
some
I
of this
get it. I totally get it.
creative energy. But I did love being with them. I love being able to be there and not having to take them to a daycare, which nothing was wrong with that because we had every intention to put them in daycare. But when we found out there was two of them, then that just didn't make sense for us. But I did, once I was with them, I decided I loved it, and is really what my why became. So as I just started the company, I was like, you know what? I love design. I love decorating. Like maybe I could try this out because I'm working for myself and I can maybe generate some income to help out with the household, but I could still be here with my girls. And that's really what my why was at that time. My why was I wanted time with my kids. I wanted to still be present. And to this day, I'm still here most days when they get home. Like I'm still at their events, but there was that season where I missed a lot. I had to send them to my parents a lot on the weekends or their grandparents because I needed my husband to work in the business with me. And they were babies. There were many nights where they were in the car and we were going back and forth while they were sleeping and tearing an event down and trying to be quiet. And
I got a lot of those pictures where it's like the child is in the car seat back there somewhere. Like, it's like balloons everywhere.
hidden behind everything. But yeah, just remembering those seasons, and you're gonna have the cycle of business. But just don't take your eyes off of it. Remember why you started it. Remember where you're going. Remember those goals. And you may have to reevaluate. I'm at a season now. I started the business when my girls were two. They're sophomores in high school now. So now
Wow.
2 years they're going to be graduating, and now my focus has changed. Now I'm thinking about maybe retirement or relocating somewhere, and so now I have to shift and reevaluate. Do my businesses still work? Is what I'm doing still working? Do I need to adjust? Do I need to scale? Those are real conversations like I'm having with myself right now as I'm trying to figure out the next stage. And again, that's okay. It's okay to pivot and to turn. But I'm doing exactly what I did in the very beginning. What are my goals? What am I trying to do in the next 10 years? Where do I see myself at? What works and what doesn't work? So it's constantly reevaluating, reassessing, redeveloping your goals, realigning your goals, whatever needs to be done. But you can't just get to that point of complacency and excited because you made it to a certain point and then take your eyes off of it, and then you lose everything that you worked for.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And what I heard in that is, one, your foundational work, because, goal setting, setting up your business in a certain way, getting clarity on your business, your ideal client, all of those things, for some reason, entrepreneurs try to avoid.
They just want to do what they want to do.
You just want to do and you just want to be. But the thing is like you said, there are going to be seasons where you're going to put in work. And we've both put in work on the front end to get to right here, right now. There are going to be those seasons. But don't forget that foundational work, because that foundational work is going to carry you much further than, you could keep working, quote unquote, harder, but it's not necessarily going to get you the growth. It'll get you more revenue, but you'll also be burnt out. You'll also have all these other side effects to it. Whereas when you are doing that foundational work and then, like you said, keeping it current, reevaluating, because life is ever changing. I'm not the same person I was 14 years ago. I'm just not that
Exactly.
same person. My life is not the same as it was. There's so many things that have happened between then and now. And you have to be, reevaluating. You have to always be thinking about those things, and do I need to change? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to, tighten up? Do I need to go back to something that maybe I let fall off, but was, working well for me? Like, that higher level thought is so important in sustainability of the business, as opposed to just, I'm just gonna keep push, 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 push. But you may be pushing in the whole wrong direction because you're not being very thoughtful about what it is that, again, what do you want? And has that want changed? Because the want that I had when I started the business and where I am today, I changed my want in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just being mindful of that and knowing that you can adapt and it's okay. And not also not getting caught up on, well, I said this, or I'm going to look this way if I, change. If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. Your success story, again, is personal. So if it
Absolutely.
changes, it changes. And we can be fluid and we can keep going and keep growing.
Absolutely.
So I've definitely enjoyed talking with you, Stacey, and I know we'll be back again because like
Yeah.
every time we have a conversation, I'm like, there's another parallel. Like there's so many like parallels in our story. Our kids are close to the same age. We've been in business
Yeah.
about the same amount of time. Like it's just
Yep.
it's so many things. And I love talking to you. I love your business mind. And but I'm gonna wrap up because I know we could talk all day and all
All
night.
day. I know. I'm gonna come do this in person one of these days. I'm gonna get to New Orleans one of these days.
You
It's
gotta
on my
come visit.
list.
You
I've
gotta
never
come
been.
visit.
It's definitely on my list.
You've never been?
I've never been.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to work that out. You're gonna have to come and visit. And I love to cook for people. So you and your
Oh,
husband can
oh,
come over, we can have dinner
that's
and
right up my alley. I'm a foodie for sure.
and you can meet Walter.
Yes, Walter. He didn't make an appearance today.
No, he's actually he's on his little, he has a little pillow off to the side. He's over there asleep.
Oh, okay. He was respectful today.
So I'm gonna ask you the 3 questions I ask all of my guests.
Okay.
One is, tell me about your favorite pair of pajamas.
I'm actually kind of in them today. I can see. It's like the
Okay.
ensemble pants. But this is kind of the structure of almost my everyday outfit. So I love like maybe like a tights and then like a solid shirt. And then I just
Mm-hmm.
throw on like a fancy sweater. So it allows me to like work in my pajamas at home when I'm home. And if I do
Mm-hmm.
actually have to go to a meeting outside the house, I throw on like my sweater and change my sneakers to a little boot or something. That's like my favorite outfit because I can
Mm-hmm.
be
It looks
comfortable
so
and
comfy,
present.
like just from
It's almost like a
seeing it.
robe. It's like soft terry cloth. I love it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to get the info on that because yeah, it looks comfy.
Amazon, they got a whole bunch of colors.
Oh, that's my color that you have on. So
I know we're matching today.
okay, so finish this sentence for me. My time freedom allows me to.
Be present. I was not present for a lot of years when building my businesses, and in part, it was I had twins. I was newly married. I had this business I was running, and I was all over the place, and I was young. I was in my 20s. And that's a whole different ball
Right.
game in your 20s than in your 40s. So you're trying to like figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what direction you're going in life. You're trying to figure out how to be married and how to parent. And it was a lot going on. And I was not present for a lot of those years. I was there physically, present physically, but mentally I just wasn't there. So now having the time freedom and the time to really process it and get to the other side of what I was trying to achieve, is definitely being able to be mentally present, for little things, just going out to eat on Friday nights or taking a trip. Or I said I was a foodie, like I truly enjoy like good food, like just being
Hmm.
present for that. So that's definitely my answer.
I love that. Yeah, that's my big thing right now is presence. It's just being there, being present and not going on vacation and not worrying about what's going on at home.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about if, there's, a client this, that, or whatever, because that's already taken care of before I left. Or going out to dinner and just having conversation and
Yes.
not having to pick up the phone or do anything else other than what is, right in front of me. So I love that answer. Just it does give you a different connection. And sometimes you don't realize, like when I first quit my full-time job, I didn't realize that as much as I spent time with my son and my husband, I didn't realize that picking him up from school as opposed to picking him up from daycare, I mean, from aftercare, was a whole different
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just that car ride home, not having to rush from downtown all the way to his school. Like, it just was a whole
Yeah,
different experience. And I didn't realize that just something that simple was different because I
yeah,
had the freedom and the ability to do that.
absolutely.
I love that. Okay, so what is the best advice that you could give someone that's seeking the profits and pajamas lifestyle? And it doesn't have to be that they want to be physically in their pajamas, but just
Right.
that they want to have that time freedom and they want to have, a more balanced life.
I think it's to be patient and stick with it. And I may have to say two things going back to your why and your goals. Know what you want, but then you got to be patient in getting there because it's not going to happen overnight. You do have to do some work. There's not going to be some internet, social media, quick fix. You can do this in 3 days, as appealing as that's going to seem when it pops up on your feed, because it always comes right when you're like struggling or going through something. It's like, oh, I could turn this around in 3 days. I only got to pay $2,000, and you like giving up your little coin, and then wondering why
Right.
it doesn't happen. So there's no quick fix. There are a lot of wonderful coaches and a lot of wonderful programs, but nobody's gonna fix your problem in 3 days. So you should invest in coaching. You should invest in somebody that's going to help you, a mentor, a guide, or somebody, because even coaches, we have coaches. Like
Yes.
you need that, someone to help you out. So I definitely agree. But any good coach is not going to tell you that you can fix it overnight. They're going to tell you to define your goals, to be patient, to work through the process, and build as you go. So be patient.
And you know
You'll
what
get
I
there.
find so ironic is people gravitate towards those, quote unquote shortcuts.
Yes.
But actually doing that foundational work is the shortcut.
Mhm.
Actually working with a coach is the shortcut because they
Mhm.
know where you're trying to go and they know how to keep you focused to get
Right.
there. That's the shortcut. Is there's no 24-hour anything. But
Mm-mm.
if you want to, take the expertise of somebody who's been doing it for 13, 14 years, take their
Mhm.
expertise so that you can do what they did in those that many years in a couple of years and
Exactly.
a much shorter amount of time because they can get you just straight to the solution, not to all of the trials and errors. So
Exactly.
I just always find that so funny. I'm like, okay, like people scrutinize coaches, but I'm like, that person that told you that you was gonna lose 400 pounds in 2 days, you didn't. You had no questions.
You just handed them over all your coins.
Right. You were just like, let me just sign up right now. Like, okay. Like,
That's
okay.
what we everybody wants, even us. I mean, of course you want what's easier. If I can be healthy in 5 days versus 5 years, like, I'm gonna take that option too. But at some point you just gotta realize what's realistic and
Right, right.
realize the journey is the process. Like sometimes you need to fail. You need to have those hardships. You need to put in that time because you got to be able to learn the lessons and all of that and appreciate that when you get to the other side.
And it builds you up to be more prepared for what's to come, because that stumble keeps you from that fall that's ahead, because
Yeah.
you learned how to brace yourself when you stumbled, and you avoid the bigger fall. So it all has its purpose. But yeah, that overnight success is not, those
Mm-mm.
people that you see that appear to be overnight successes are not, you didn't see what came before it.
Mhm.
You saw them, they were on your radar for a short period of time, but that doesn't mean that they were working for a short period of time.
Exactly. You know what? One more thing I would like to add to that too. Don't get so caught up in the visuals and the processes and all of that stuff. Sometimes when people are starting businesses or they put so much work into the website and the graphic design. And I love visuals. I am a visual. I am creative. Like I love those things. But honestly, if you have a great service, people are going to come to you and they're going to find you and they're going to tell your friends, and they don't care what your website looks like. They don't care about all that stuff. Like invest your time in your customer service, in your processes and your systems, and making it an experience, a good experience for people that come to you, and then invest in the other stuff. I see so many businesses in my storefront where I'm at. There's a building across the street. There's been probably about 7 businesses that have come and go in the 9 years that I've been there. It'll be 9 years in October. And a lot of them have these beautiful like signage and all this stuff. And they start out with these full teams and all this stuff. And then they're closed like in a year because they put their attention on the wrong things.
Yeah.
So that's some advice. That was a freebie. Just
Yeah. I'm a visual girl, so I had paused for a second, but I know what you mean though. Like
yeah,
visual means nothing if there's no substance.
exactly. And if you can do
Like you
both,
can
do
have
both.
the
But don't.
prettiest, whatever, but if you don't have the substance and the structure behind it, then you know there's no point to it. You have to have the combination, but if you're gonna pick one thing, pick the substance first.
Pick the
And
substance.
you can always work on the other part, but if you don't have the substance, that pretty gonna start to look not so pretty real fast. When people,
Exactly.
came into this beautiful space and then everything else goes wrong from there.
Mhm.
That beauty is not going to matter. And I'm gonna add a freebie to that. That beauty most times is based on what you like. It has absolutely nothing to do with what your ideal client is looking for. And people wonder why they're not connecting. You picked everything based on your own likes,
Mhm.
but you didn't think beyond that. It was just, this looks pretty and I'm good at this thing. That is the bare minimum, like, starting point. That's not
It
like you're not
is.
finished. Like,
Mm-mm.
just because you signed a lease and you paid for the logo, that's not where it stops. You're not finished.
And people
You
dump all their money into that too sometimes. So then you
Yeah.
have nothing left to sustain. Like you haven't even built a client base yet. So
Yeah, so I think that that's part of the internet and this idea of, overnight success and instant businesses and, quit your job and, and open a business. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Like, if you don't have the resources to do that, don't do that. And if you haven't done the foundational work, don't do that. Build your business while you're doing whatever else it is you're doing, but just don't do it that way. Like that, just is such bad advice, but it's just so promoted, like, that's the way to go. And like you said, you got to have that foundation. You have to have systems in place. You have to have that customer service, because there's so many businesses. Everybody's like, oh, you should try so and so. They have the best, whatever. I'm a foodie too. So they're like, so and so makes this and you got to try it. And then I'm like, so then I go try to find this person, and they don't have a website. They don't have a place where you could go and order, and then you gotta call a person, or it's all of these extra parts. And I'm like, I don't even want it no more. I don't even care. Or meet me at this place on this day. And I'm like, I don't even care no more. Like, I just quit. I quit. But look, the Instagram is beautiful. But I'm like,
right.
if you spend a little of that time creating a process,
Yes,
a ordering process, and invest a little of that money in a point of sale, and all of that,
right.
might be a little more successful, and like you said, then you have that, it was beautiful and great, and then it shuts down. And it's sad. It doesn't need to be that way. And you could also invest it in business education, invest it in a coach, figure out, or even local resources. There's so many resources for startups.
Yeah,
But
so many
but
now.
solidify that business side of things, because until you do, it's just an expensive hobby.
Absolutely.
It is. But I'm gonna let you go, because I know both of us are ready to get back comfortable. Even though we in our pajamas, we still we still want to lounge a little bit. But what do you have going on in your world right now? What do you want to share with the audience? Is there anything that you are promoting right now that they, should know about?
Yes, so Live Lead Succeed, we actually launched a wellness hub at the beginning of this year. So it's actually the same venue space that my event planning company is in. During the week now, we have a wellness hub. So we offer different classes. We're actually getting ready to start a live dancing class in a couple of weeks. We do
Awesome.
restorative yoga. We have some workshops and things going on. But you can also through our website, you can book coaching sessions, you can do disc sections, you can do leadership sessions. We have a financial coach, we have a nutritionist, you can do personal training, and a lot of those are, you could be anywhere in the world. We can do them virtually. So the things that we have at the hub, the physical events, are for everyone here in Pittsburgh. But virtually and around the world, if you need coaching, financial assistance, and things like that, we can offer that straight through the hub. So you just go to liveleadsucceed.com, click on the hub, and you can schedule right on there.
Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna make sure that that is in the show notes, so that they can get right to you. And is that also the best way for them to contact you if they want your other services as well?
You can find me, Stacey Barlow Hill, on everything: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Stacey with the E, though. I'm particular about my E. So Stacey
You better tell them. Don't
with the
don't don't mess it
E.
up.
Barlow Hill. Stacey's with the E are very particular. But yeah, you can find me on all the things of Stacey Barlow Hill.
All right. Well, Stacey, it was so great talking to you, and I'm so glad to have you as a guest. You guys reach out, because I'd love that you have the health hub. We need to be looking at ourselves more holistically and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. So go and book. Y'all always so much, I don't have time. Well, they're virtual options, so you have time. You don't even have to leave your house. So go ahead and head over there and book and find out more about Stacey. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for coming and listening. And we will see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. You guys go book Danni too, because she's amazing too. So
Oh, thank you.
thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at CoachDanniD.com.